How can you beat the competition through bundling or kidding? Today, we're going to be joined by somebody who's the creator of Mommy Income and the host of the Amazon Files podcast, and we'll answer that question. I'm now joined by Kristin Ostrander, who is the owner or creator of Mommy Income, as well as the Amazon Files podcast. We're going to be talking about bundling today. Thanks so much for joining me.
Steve, I'm so glad, Stephen. I'm so glad I'm here. Thank you so much for having me.
And fun fact, we're swapping podcasts, so you'll see a glimpse of me on the Amazon Files podcast as well, so you can kind of switch and go back and forth depending on which audience you're with. So excited to do that this month with you. All right, so there's this thing called virtual bundling that just came out, and there's also kitting and physically putting things together. A lot we can talk about on today's podcast. But first question, tell me a little about what you do over at Mommy Income.
I created Mommy Income. I'm the host of the Amazon Files podcast, where we teach people to start and grow businesses on Amazon, specifically using our wholesale bundles system. So I love talking about kitting, bundling, whatever you want to call it in your neck of the woods, and that's my jam.
So a lot of the people in your audience are buying from local U.S. wholesalers, but a lot of the tips we're going to talk about today will be usable for private labelers as well as anybody, no matter where you're sourcing your goods. A lot of the things we'll talk about today will help you increase your sales, increase your average order value. So I guess let's lead right in then. Why do we bundle? Why do you want to create a kit, so to speak?
Well, the bundles is a lot of things. One of the number one things that I started bundling with was, I used to do retail arbitrage, and I realized the race to the bottom, the competition, the price tanking was such a nightmare. And I wanted to get away from that somehow. And I thought, how can I make money? The other thing was, when I got into wholesale, I realized it's like wah, 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 right? Like, you open a wholesale account and you think you're going to have like killer margins. Everything's going to be at least 50%, of retail price, and you're just going to kill it until you realize the margins are only 20%, 30%, plus you have Amazon fees on top of that. I'm like, how can anybody make money doing this with single wholesale items? And so I started putting bundles together, thinking it was a way to increase my profit margin and also bring some value to the customer, to put highly complementary items together. So think of like a Lego set, but also with a container that your kids can organize and put their Legos in, so that, carrying case, whatever it is, things like that bring value to just a Lego set that you might only make 10% on. But then you put that together, people see the perceived value and they think they're getting more for their money, and they like that, and they can buy it in one click. So it's speed and convenience and variety to put a bundle together. And so I tried it, and it was kind of a home run from the beginning, because I realized people really wanted something like that, and it increased my margin. So it was a win-win.
And let's talk about the margins. So how did it increase your margins? Are you offering a price break on some of these items? If you bought them individually, does the consumer benefit as well?
Well, the reality is that the consumer benefits too, because number one, they're willing to pay this extra premium in order to get two things for one. So we're like a one-click society, right? Like, you want to go in, you want to put one click, add to cart, be done. Especially your Amazon customers who are Amazon Prime, and they are really just hitting it out of they want to be able to buy stuff quickly. They don't want to go to stores. They don't want to put stuff together. So it's easier for them to have the value that they want when they can just click a button, add it to cart, and have it in 2 days.
And so let's talk about a couple of examples of kitting, just to make sure everybody who's listening to this understands what we're talking about. So this is when we take item A, B, and C, put them all together, and we bundle them for a lower price to the consumer and a convenient single package. So give me an example of a kit that you might see on Amazon.
Okay, so a kit you might see on Amazon would be like, let's go back to the Legos for a second. So you have, these awesome Lego sets, and maybe you put 2 or 3 together, and then you have, like a storage carrying case that you put together. Another really bundle match made in heaven a lot is grocery bundles and variety packs. So, you say you've got, this variety of granola bars, for example. It's one of my first bundles I ever made. We get the big Costco pack for our family, except there's one flavor that like nobody ever wants, right? It's that yucky flavor that was like, oh, it's left over. And so I'm like, what can I do with that particular thing? And so going through and taking that and putting some other varieties together, now you've got this granola variety pack to where not everybody shops at Costco, or you have to buy at least 10 of this flavor and 10 of that flavor, to where we just mix and matched, and then you've got a variety pack together. Another one would be like, a lot of people do bundles like in the health and beauty category. So you've got shampoo and conditioner of the same exact kind, like same brand. And so it fits the same product line, and it just naturally goes together.
Yeah, and a couple of kits that I could think of is like dog toys, where you're going to have like 7 different toys that are all combined together, stuff like that too. So I think we've established kind of what is a bundle, what is a kit, how to access it, that kind of thing. So that's good. All right, so how do you go about actually creating the bundle? Let's talk not only how to define it, but also how do you actually logistically put it together, and maybe some best practices on that. And I just lost your audio. Can you still hear me? I think you just went on mute by accident. If you can, you're
so
good.
Sorry about that. Okay, so how do you? I was like started talking already. So how do you actually go about creating the bundle? So in the wholesale bundle system that we have, I have a whole framework of the process of starting with an idea and then bringing the whole entire bundle to the point of investing. And so, when you get together with that particular, when you get your idea together, you go through the research process and you vet the ideas. A lot of really great places to start to find a really good bundle to put together is the frequently bought together section in Amazon. The good thing about that is Amazon's always telling you people who bought this also bought this and this. And like, some things make perfect sense, but if you see somebody buying granola bars with toilet paper, let's use our heads. That's clearly not a great bundle there. But like the idea of like people who bought a fishing rod, also bought some tackle, also bought a reel. Well, that's a great idea to be able to start with. So how you logistically start putting these bundles together is figuring out first what your idea, what your bundle is going to be, and vetting the different ideas. And there's, I use Helium-10 and merchant words to look at search terms and the supply and demand, and then start putting things together based on those things and based on what all the other research keywords are.
There's a really cool tool called Yassive where you can like see a spider web of all of the frequently bought together. I actually haven't checked this tool out in a couple months, and I saw a note the other day that it was like may not work anymore. Is it still working? You know what I'm talking about?
I actually don't. I like to do a little bit more of an organic type thing when I'm putting stuff together, but I do use that per listing. So I'll have to check that out and see if it actually works, because I've never actually used a software that kind of gathers that. So that sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
I just put it up on my second screen, try to test it real quick while we're on the fly here, and it looks like it's no longer working. So sorry, guys. But the fact is that there may be an API tool out there that could crawl all frequently bought together, build a spider web for you, and deliver it to your plate. So might be something worth looking into.
I'm your first customer and investor for anybody that develops those things that wants to kind of pick my brain about bundles. That would be great. That's something that would really help kind of solidify the process and make it a little bit easier to dig through. But honestly, bundles, the number one thing to remember about a kit or a bundle is that you need to ask the who, what, when, where, why, and how of it. You need to solve a problem or meet a need. I mean, why does someone want to buy your kit if they can buy, all the things separately? Like, what makes it better for them? What problem are you solving? What need are you meeting? If you cannot answer those questions about your bundle, you shouldn't have one.
And I think that's a good point, that it's not just specific to kitting as well, right? So when somebody's going to go start selling a product, whether you're buying wholesale and going to retail, or whether you're private labeling and creating it yourself, if you don't solve a problem, your product's going to fail. And if your product does the same thing as 100 other ones, probably not going to work either. So for example, if you're looking at an ottoman tray and you look at the number one seller in ottoman trays, and you find out that your 11-inch dinner tray or 11-inch dinner plate doesn't fit in the 12-inch tray because the lip is too small, and you go out to market and you build a new ottoman tray and it fits the 11-inch dinner plate, and nobody else does that, you're going to win. You're going to win left and right, because you'll look at those negative reviews on that competitor listing and continually see, it's too small, too small, too small. And you go to market with that, boom, you're going to win. Also, another thought is, if it's waterproof and stuff like that. So if you read negative reviews on other products, it'll give you the ideas of what to solve for, whether you're doing kitting or a regular product.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite tips. And I shared that. Like, I love that. And I share that with people a lot of times. Like, if you want to know what bundle to make, read reviews of maybe your main product that you sell or a main product you're considering putting inside of your bundle, and read all of the reviews. Take the time, because your customers, your potential customers with your bundle will tell you, I wish it had this. I wish it had this. I wouldn't wish it didn't do this. Next time I'm going to purchase XYZ. That's exactly how I came up with my new private label product that's supposed to be coming out in the next couple of months or so, is really looking at reviews of a product I was planning to purchase and realized, wow, this needs more customization than many people thought. So I made my own. And so I'm hoping that based on that, that's going to be a big hit. But that's a really good place to find bundles, that people will tell you, I use it with this, this, and this, or this is how I use it, or this is how, I wish it came with blah, blah, blah. And that's a really good way to make bundles.
So when we talk about how to beat the competition, what does that mean? How does kitting help you beat the competition?
What it helps is set yourself apart from that. So one of the number one myths that I want to debunk right now about bundling is people think that your bundle price has to be the same amount as the 3 items that they sell separately. So if each item sells for $9.99 on Amazon and then you make a bundle with it, you have to sell it for $29.99 or less. Otherwise, you're going to kind of price out. That's actually not true. Most people will spend a premium knowing they can get all 3 of those things at the same time with one click, less time, less energy, less packaging, less everything else. They will pay more for that. So there's one of the things there, is that you do not have to be the lower price. You can be a better price, because also there's that price perception, right? Well, people sometimes look at the lowest price and go, that's probably junk. And the highest price, they're like, I don't want to spend that. So you usually pick somewhere in the middle to be able to price there. And I think when people start looking at those things, they realize that middle price is a little bit better. And so that's a little bit of a way to beat the competition, is first of all, more money in your pocket. But the second thing about bundles that's so beautiful is it's like a poor man's private label, right? So you can add your actual own private label product within your bundle. It could be anything from, like, your podcasters can't see this, but your YouTubers might. It's like you create your own cup. This is a Mommy Income branded mug. Well, clearly I'm not putting that in the bundle, but you could also use promotional companies, places like that, to print something all your own. Maybe like your Momster brand, right? You've got your own brand that you have that, but I could potentially make my own coffee cup or mug or something like that and put it within other wholesale products, to where your competition doesn't know where you got that, because you manufactured it yourself. It's your own white label or private label product. You put that within your bundle, and now your competition can't hijack your listing. They can't jump on all your hard work and all your research and sell your item, because there's that one elusive thing in your bundle that they can't get a hold of.
So I really like that. So if we talk about the dog toys scenario that I kind of randomly pitched, so even if you've got the same 7 toys as somebody else, but you just put your packaging around it and throw your logo on it, your competition can't rip that off, because it's not the same product, even if it's just the packaging.
Packaging alone can be what sets you apart. In my best case scenario, the people that have done this the best, in my opinion, are the Hangry kits. So if you go to Amazon right now and look up Hangry kit, you'll see that they have this awesome, really heavy duty box. And all they're doing is selling snack kits, different types of snack kits. And they are the #1 seller in snack kits. And all they do to brand themselves is they have a branded box that says Hangry kit, and they put all kinds of name brand, snacks in there, but their marketing is really just the Hangry kit, military, college, peanut free, whatever it is. And they just have their branded box. And that's what sets them apart, is that you could try to copy and hijack their listing, but #1, they're brand registered. I highly recommend that. But then #2, they have their own packaging. So even if they weren't, you can't copy that, because you don't have their packaging, and they'll get you kicked off every time.
So if you don't have brand registry and you're wondering how to get that, you guys need to go get a trademark. MyAmazonGuy.com. We do file trademarks if you guys are interested. 6-month process, takes a while, so get on that now, not later. All right, so Hangry Kits, that sounds like something I need right now, especially with COVID and everything else going on. Man, I'm both hungry and angry, and a lot going on. So, all right, so you're a kitting master. We've set the tone on this. Just random question. How many kits have you built?
Oh my word! Over the past 5 years, I don't know if I can even count. We currently keep less than 200 SKUs at any time. Most of it's about 100. Sometimes we have some seasonal in and out of there, but like on an average, the average product lifespan is usually about a year, maybe 2 years if you're really lucky. So we're always have that revolving door going on and creating new bundles. We probably do 2 or 3 every month, and some of them are great and some of them are like, okay, that was okay, but we weed it out based on supply and demand. But gosh, I would probably venture to say over the past 5 years I might have created over 1,000 bundles. Between me and my business partner is my mom, and so her and I are like bundle masters, and we love doing it. And so between seasonal and evergreen, probably over 1,000.
So somebody who's looking to start with their first kit and first bundle, what do they need to learn or do? Like what was some of the early mistakes you made before you became the kitting master?
Um, my number one thing is, just because you think it's cute does not mean it's going to sell. So some things that I love, and one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? So sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cute, and I'm going to put the bundle together. The research is everything. I don't care how cute, or on the flip side, I'll tell a story in a minute, how ugly it is. Do the research. The numbers don't lie. And so looking at supply and demand rather than, oh my gosh, this is so cute. Well, that's great and everything, but not everybody agrees with you and your taste. And so using the numbers, using the wholesale bundles of framework to do your research. It's not about cute. It's not about what you love. It's about what do the customers want, and what's that need that you're going to meet or the problem you're going to solve. I would not just go on cute alone or on ugly. So I had a major, this is one of my favorite stories to tell too. This is why you use numbers and not cuteness, because one of the catalogs I had some really best sellers going on in there. And so I contacted my rep and I said, I want to fully utilize your catalog. What are some of your best sellers you have in here? I want to build, kits and bundles with those. And she led me to a page on the catalog, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is hideous. And I actually said that out loud. I'm like, are you kidding me? These are bestsellers. I said, these are really kind of ugly. And she's like, well, I agree with you, but
The
this
data doesn't lie.
Yeah, she said, these are our best sellers. As a matter of fact, if you want to order some, like order probably 6 months worth, because we sell out a lot and it takes that long to get them made and all this stuff. And I'm like, so I tried it, even though I showed my mom. She's like, ew. She's like, we have to sell these ugly things? I said, we're going to give it a try because they told us their numbers don't lie. And guess what's my number one bestseller right now?
Still the same.
That ugly thing.
Nice. That's great. So in terms of packaging and kitting, one thing I like to point out is, your cost savings and logistics. There's something to talk about here, and this is especially pertinent to the private labelers out there that have multiple products and they're thinking about kitting for the first time. And it's, let's say your small regular item normally costs you $3.30 in FBA fees to ship out, right? Well, let's say you take 3 of those items and kit them together. Your FBA fee could be $5, right? So you just went from $10 down to $5 in shipping of that same item. And I like the myth you talked about earlier where you're saying, you don't have to be the same price or lower, but if you do factor in the logistics savings, you might have the margin to make that happen, right? So instead of selling each of these 3 items for $10, you could sell all 3 together for $27 or $28 and have a higher profit margin because your logistics cost is down. Pass on the cost savings to the customer and make more money. Go ahead.
Or you could pass all of that hard work onto a prep center and keep the same fees and not have to do any of the work yourself, which is a lot what I like to do. As far as we are all hands off of our inventory. We send it all to a prep facility. They put our bundles together and we build that fee into our margin, so that what I'm doing on a weekly basis is I'm creating new bundles as far as looking at the stuff, doing the research, creating the listing, and then my prep center does everything else. They receive the inventory, they deal with things that are missing. They have their warehouse open 24/7 to where I could be sitting here, or I could be sitting on a beach somewhere, or I could be at Disney World, and my business is still going, and I'm not worried about receiving pallets and putting kits together and bundling and boxing and taping. So I like to use my fee savings to be able to pay a prep center so that I don't have to be hands-on with my inventory.
So I think that's a great tip. So not only can you improve your margins potentially and find unique products that sell on their own listing, But you could also do all of this in a scalable manner without touching the product. That's a great point. A lot of my clients at my Amazon Guide, they have their own warehouses, and so when we have kidding conversations with them, it's just a giant headache, right? And they're like, "Oh, new process and herding cats and all that shebang." Mm-hmm. So I like your idea. Prep Center could definitely take some of that lift out. But let's say your organization isn't willing to kit it themselves. They're too lazy, quite frankly. They're not willing to pay for the kitting. They're not willing to go down to the kitting prep center down the road. So what I would say to them, what you should do then is do a virtual bundle. So have you tested any virtual bundling yet?
Okay, here's what I don't like about virtual bundling. And I know that Amazon has recently just rolled this out, and a lot of my clients have asked, okay, what do you think of this? Do you think this is going to kill bundling? No, and here's why. Because Amazon hasn't quite, now they could in the future, but they haven't quite figured out how to logistically make that make sense. Because if you haven't noticed, all of the inventory, whether you have a single listing here and they're trying to virtually bundle it together, buy all three for this price. Reality is one of those is coming from a warehouse in Dallas, one of them's coming from a warehouse in California, one of them's coming from, New Jersey, wherever it is. And so this person gets this bundle, but they get it, yesterday they got this one, today they might get 2 out of the 3, and then people say, oh, I'm missing one, where's the other box? It's in transit. So now you have 3 packages, 3 different items coming from 3 different warehouses. It's not in a form of a customer-based package. It's not customer-centric. It's easier for the seller, but it's not a benefit to your buyer. And they will notice that very quickly. If I'm buying a newborn baby gift set and I've got, okay, I can buy the receiving blankets over here and I can buy the little onesies over here and all that. Well, now it's coming in 3 different boxes. There's no packaging. There's a lot of advantage and benefit to putting it into a nice package for someone so that they can receive one of their kitted items and it's all together. And instead of having it be from different places and arriving at different times, and now if you're gifting it, for example, now you have to take it out of the packages, find another package for it. It's about what problem you're solving with it. That could work in some instances, but it also takes away that one click that we talked about earlier and the speed and convenience. And the customer doesn't want to think more than they need to. And Amazon, with the virtual bundling, has seemed to have forced the decisions more on the customer rather than taking responsibility of putting kits together. And so they're trying to find a skirt around, but reality is robots can't do everything humans can do.
Well, I like that, especially since the society is heading more robot-oriented. All right, so I also share a lot of your sentiment that virtual bundling is an inferior method. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But if you can't pull off the logistics and you can't do it, I would recommend virtual bundling at a minimum to test. And that might mean put up a couple of virtual bundle sets. If that data supports itself and all of a sudden you're selling 20 units a day, clearly you got to go spend the time and build the real kit and take care of it. Because the other thing just to close out virtual bundling comment, you cannot save any money on virtual bundling. Your logistics fees are the same. So that scenario that we shared earlier today, which we had 3 units at $330 a piece, you're still paying 3 units at $330 a piece instead of that $5 cost savings when you physically package it together before it reaches Amazon's FBA facility. All right, so that's virtual bundling. So let's go back to mistakes. What other common mistakes should we avoid?
I think some of the common mistakes to avoid is at the competition level. I've seen people decide they're just going to make a bundle so that they can keep away hijackers. And that's their main goal for kitting or bundling is I'm putting this item together with the classic one we've seen before. And I feel like I have screen grabs of it somewhere is literally a cereal box, like a box of cereal, cornflakes, what have you, and then someone put their own keychain with it. The keychain has nothing to do with anything. It's like a promotional, piece of swag someone bought someplace that says, Happy Days or whatever. And they literally put a keychain with this box of cereal just to kind of get around the rules so that nobody can buy your box of cereal as if it's special somehow. So what not to do is put something in your bundle that makes no sense. I've also seen people create their own candies, like it's like a tea, so like a mint, and they have their own logo printed on it. but then they put this mint with sticky notes. They put their custom made mints with every single product in somebody's catalog. So they'll get a catalog, say from, a home goods department or something. And so they've got this, I need coffee before I wake up sign, and then they put their mints with it. Well, that is not highly complimentary. It doesn't serve the customer at all. It just gives a seller a way to keep off hijackers. And if that's how your business is focused, you're cutting corners and you're not thinking about your customer. Because if you think about your customer, your bottom line automatically increases. If you give your customers what they want and how they want it, they will thank you with dollar bills. And so if you're just trying to get hijackers off of your listing, that's not a long-term sustainable business model.
I really like that. You got to think about your customer and adding value. And that's what Amazon's platform is all about, right? So they're obsessed with customers. They could give a crap about sellers, but that's why we're in business. But if you align with Amazon's branding to help out the buyers and think about customer experience, you will win regardless of anything else that happens. So I definitely much agree with that sentiment. All right, so let's kind of close the books here a little bit on bundling, and just talk shop here. What was the last book you've read?
The book I'm reading and going through right now is Daily Devotions for Entrepreneurs. It's actually just more about being a business owner, and it's a faith-based, just every day just refreshes my mind of who I'm serving and why I'm serving them and why it's important to me, why I'm doing well for my family, and also how I can just be of better service to other people. So it's just this daily reminder of working through and ask some really tough questions about your purpose and your intent and how intentional you're being with, your customers and clients, but also, with yourself and caring for your own physical and spiritual needs. And so it's just really been a nice daily guidebook for me. It's actually written by a friend of mine that's in another women business owner. So I got it from her, and I've just really been loving it.
So I'm really big into reading books right now, and I think with all the commotion that's been going on, you need to take some time for some inner thought, clear the cobwebs, get out of your digital mindset for just a day here and there, and go do some inner thinking. So I'm a big believer in that as well. The last book I read was Power versus Force, and it's actually probably in the same category. It's about enlightenment. And people listening to this are thinking, well, what do I need enlightenment or spirituality for to be a better businessman? But let me tell you, it makes a difference. You think about things in different ways, and it can lead to some sales increases. Everything we do always comes back. How can I grow sales? Well, sometimes you got to grow your own aspirations, your own inner belief system to make that happen. So.
For sure. I 100% agree with that. We have to, to be the best leaders and the best teachers and the best coaches and the best things that we're doing, even the best business owners, we have to be the best version of ourselves. And that's always changing. And so as we're reading and growing as just individuals, we can also help the people that we serve rise to the same level.
All right. Last question for you. So where, just to make a prediction on what you think is going to happen, where do you see Amazon changing here in the next 2, 3, 4 years? What do you predict might happen?
Okay, I love this question. I don't get asked this often, but I love it because I have made many predictions about Amazon. Being in the game so long, I've seen so many changes and been through so many changes in Amazon. I mean, been on it since 2008, so it's been a long haul and seen a lot of things come to pass. I think my next big prediction for Amazon is that they're going to start requiring people to have brand registry. So what that really means is that they're going to force people to create brands, whether it's their own or, something else. And to be able to be a decent player on Amazon, to be able to make really good money, you're going to have your own brand. And whether it's something that's important to you or if it's just a made up brand you're using in order to kind of get through the door, I think brand registry and trademarking is going to be the next big move that they make to get out, to weed out the people that are, honestly, the fraud people, the people that are coming in here creating fraudulent accounts, selling a bunch of, knockoffs and then jumping off Amazon because they made a couple million. They're trying to really weed that down. And I think that they're going to start making that be a requirement. And so people that you're listening now, work on it now, call Steven and his team and get a trademark and start getting that stuff going. Because I think my Amazon account turned a big corner once I got a trademark and got brand registry. There's so much more value to the seller to have brand registry. And a lot of it, if you're dealing with a government entity to get a trademark, that's a big deal. And so they know, and you're automatically vetted because you went through that process, because it takes time and money to be able to do so. And so because of that, I really feel like it will weed out a lot of the bad apples that we have competing on Amazon, and also help the seller individual have a better experience as a seller, because you feel more protected. You have access to A+ content. You have all this other access that other people don't have with brand registry.
So I think we're seeing your prediction already start to come to fruition. And in the last 2 weeks, we've seen anytime you've loaded a product for a brand you haven't sold before, they now require a ticket approval to get brand accepted on that account. And you bypass that with brand registry. So I think we're 80% there already in the last 2 weeks. I think that's coming. So that trademark for brand registry, more important than ever. All right, so if somebody wants to learn more about Mommy Income or the Amazon files, and want to learn more about you and your process, where can they go?
They can go to mommyincome.com and they can check out all the things that we have there, specifically for the wholesale bundle system. If you're interested in that, go to mommyincome.com/system and check out the whole wholesale bundle system, where the framework's in there. We actually have a custom package training in there as well. So give you everything you need to get started with bundling on Amazon. So either mommyincome.com or mommyincome.com/system.
All right, Kristin Ostrander, thank you so much for joining our podcast today. We will we'll put up a link to the book, The Daily Devotions for Entrepreneurs. Send that link over to me. I'll put it in the comments section of our show notes. Thanks so much for joining today.
Thank you so much.
All right, so that's our podcast today. My name is Stephen Pope. I am the founder of My Amazon Guy. If you're joining us from Kristin's network, you can find more about My Amazon Guy at myamazonguy.com. Full service agency, everything from SEO, PPC, design, and everything in between. Thanks for watching the My Amazon Guy podcast.